I declare this meeting open at 1 p.m. Welcome to the Shire of Ashburton Ordinary Council meeting being held at Onslow Chambers in Onslow. Please ensure your mobile phones are turned off or set to silent for the duration of the meeting. This meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded. Please remember to use your microphones when speaking. Council meetings are public and any information you provide may be recorded and could be publicly accessible. Please note that the council chambers do not operate under parliamentary privilege. Elected members and staff may be held personally liable for any defamatory comments or breaches of confidentiality. Statements made during council meetings are solely the views of the individual speakers. Comments cannot be attributed to the Shire unless formally adopted by a resolution of the council. Elected members and employees must disclose any financial, proximity, or impartiality interests related to agenda items. This declaration should be made at the start of the meeting or at the latest prior to the item being discussed. Disclosures must comply with the Local Government Act 1995. Elected members who disclose a financial or proximity interest must refrain from participating in discussions related to that interest and must leave the meeting during that item. The confirmed minutes of a council meeting serve as the official record. Recordings of council meetings must not be copied, republished, or reproduced without the express permission of the Shire. 1.1 Acknowledgement of Country. As representatives of the Shire of Ashburton Council, we respectfully acknowledge the local Indigenous people, the traditional custodians of this land where we are meeting upon today, and pay our respects to them and all the elders past and present. Item 2, announcement of visitors. We do not have any. Item 3, attendance as per on the board. And we do have Councillor Healy via video link. And we also have Tom Will Day as an external joined us online as well. We do not have members of the media. 3.2 apologies. We do not have any apologies. 3.3 approved leave of absent. Neil approve. Item 4, question time. 4.1 response to previous public question taken on notice. We have not received any public question time. Do we have any public question time that's come through? We do not have any. Item 5.
Do I need to read out my declaration?
We will get there, Councillor Healy.
Sorry. Yeah.
Item 5, declaration by members. 5.1, due consideration by elected members to agenda. Elected members, I'll be asked, going around the table, and please state that you have given due consideration to all matters contained in this agenda. Councillor De Pledge.
Yes.
Councillor Fox.
Yes.
Councillor White.
Yes.
Councillor Rumble.
Yes.
Councillor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councillor Day.
Yes.
And Councillor Rogers.
Yes.
Councillor Healy.
Yes.
And me, myself, yes. 5.2, declaration of interest. We do have some declaration of interest, so I will pass it on to Mr. Woodward, Chief Executive Officer, to read the declaration and the letter from the Department of Local Government.
Thank you, Madam President. The letter from the Department of Local Government reads, Dear Mr. Woodward, I refer to your correspondence dated 4th of December 2025 and advise that, in accordance with authorised delegation by the Minister for Local Government, I have approved your application under Section 5.693 of the Local Government Act 1995. Approval was granted under Section 5.693A of the Act to allow disclosing members, Councillor Bree Healy, Councillor Karen Day and Councillor Audra Smith to participate and vote on the following item at the Shire of Ashburton Ordinary Council meeting on the 9th of December 2025. Approval is subject to the following. Approval is associated with development application or agenda item 12.1 development application DA 2543 Paraburdoo Airport Extension Lot 300 Crown Reserve. The approval is subject to the following conditions. 1. The approval is only valid for the 9th of December 2025 Ordinary Council meeting when agenda 12.1 is considered. The above mentioned councillors must declare the nature and the extent of their interests at the above mentioned meeting when the matter is considered, together with the approval provided. The Chief Executive Officer is to provide a copy to the Department of Local Government, Industry Regulations and Safety letter of approval to the above mentioned councillors. The CEO is to ensure that the declarations, including the approval given and any conditions imposed, are recorded in the minutes of the above mentioned meeting when the item is considered. The CEO is to provide a copy of the confirmed minutes of the above mentioned meeting to the Department of Local Government, LGIRS, to allow LGIRS to verify compliance with the conditions of this approval. The approval granted is based solely on the interest disclosed by the above mentioned councillors, made in accordance with the application. Should other interests be identified, these interests will not be included in this approval, and the financial interest provision of the Act will apply. Should you require further information in relationship to this matter, please contact Ms. Jardakenka, Legislative Officer, via the details proposed. Thank you, Madam President. That's a letter read. The declarations by Councillor Healy is an indirect financial interest. My partner is an employee of Rio Tinto. We do not reside in the company house. However, my partner receives the HSP allowance and utilities benefit. The next declaration is by Councillor Rogers. Direct financial. I work for Rio Tinto, reside in a Rio Tinto provided rental housing. I am also a Rio Tinto shareholder. Councillor Karen Day. Direct financial. My husband works for Rio Tinto and I reside in company housing. Councillor Linton Rumble. Direct financial. I am a shareholder of Rio Tinto Limited of a value exceeding the prescribed amount in this part of my retirement and is part of my retirement fund. Councillor Fox. Indirect financial. I'm currently a Rio Tinto employee. I currently hold Rio Tinto shares. Shire President, Audra Smith. Direct financial. My husband is an employee of Rio Tinto and holds shares exceeding the prescribed threshold. I'm also a board member of a Aware Group, which is in partnership or which has a partnership with Rio Tinto. Councillor Sullivan has a direct financial interest. My husband works for Rio Tinto. I and my husband live in subsidised accommodation provided by Rio Tinto. I and my husband own shares in Rio Tinto above the prescribed amount. Councillor A. Sullivan, direct financial interest. The request for professional development relates directly to my own professional development as my capacity as Deputy Shire President.
Thank you,
Madam President.
Mr. Woodward. Councillor Healy, may I please? I'll read the declaration and if you could read yours too. Do you have a copy there? In accordance with Regulation 14C 2B of the Local Government Administration Regulation 1996, I have approved Councillor Healy to attend this meeting via electronic means, noting there are instantaneous communication with the meeting. Thank you, Councillor Healy.
in accordance with Regulation 14CA5 of the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996, I declare that I can maintain confidentiality during the meeting or the closed part of the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Healy. Item 6, announcement by presiding member and councillors without discussion. I do have some announcement. Local Government Professional Australia WA Awards. Proud to share that the Onslow Anzac Memorial Park Extension has been named a winner of the Connecting Communities Award Population Under 15,000, announced at the Local Government Professional Awards WA in early November. This recognition celebrates our community's vision in creating a welcoming and multifunctional space for remembrance, connection and celebration. The ANZAC Memorial Park Extension has become a central hub for community gatherings, local events and moments of reflection, made possible through the incredible support and input of the Onslow community. Thank you to everyone who helped shape this project and brought the vision to life. Together we are building stronger, more connected communities across the Shire of Ashburton. Pilbara Cadet Team Mining Emergency Response Competition. Just congratulations to the combined Pilbara Cadet Team at this year's Mining Emergency Response Competition. Yes Cadet Challenge, back-to-back champions. Thank you to all the parents, instructors whose guidance shaped these outstanding cadets, Ashburton's future emergency services leader. Keep Australia Beautiful Council 2025 Tidy Towns Award. Big congratulations to Blade Day of Blade Bin, state winner, Young Legends category at the 2025 Tidy Town Sustainable Communities Award. A wonderful achievement for one of Ashburton's very own trailblazer. Blade's dedication to service, sustainability and community spirit shows exactly what makes Ashburton so special. And finally, today is the Shire of Ashburton's final council meeting for 2025. This meeting marks the conclusion of an important year of collaboration and progress for our community. On behalf of Council, extend our thanks to staff for their dedication and professionalism, stakeholders for their constructive engagement and support, residents for their ongoing commitment to making our Shire a vibrant and welcoming place. As we approach the festive season, we wish everyone a safe, joyful Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Please take care on the roads and enjoy your time with family and friends. Look forward to working together in 2026 to continue building a strong future for our region. Also, thank you to my fellow councillors for all your hard work in the past year. I'll go around. Councillor De Pledge, do you have any announcement?
No.
Councillor Fox?
No.
Councillor White?
No.
Councillor Rumble?
No.
Councillor Sullivan?
No.
Councillor Day?
No.
And Councillor Rogers?
No.
Councillor Healy?
No.
Item 7, petitions, deputations, presentations. 7.1, petitions. We do not have any. 7.2, deputations. We do have a deputation from Tom Widley, RFF Australia, on item 12.4, Narrawana Settlement Layout Plan. And Tom is on Teams. Tom, just advising you, deputations are 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes to present your deputations. The floor is yours. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you all. My name is Tom Wilday from RFF Australia, based in Karratha. And as noted, I'm speaking on behalf of item 12.4, the Narrawana Settlement Layout Plan. Thank you, councillors, for the opportunity to present at your meeting today. I want to acknowledge the extensive work undertaken by the Shire's officers in assessing the layout plan and in preparing the recommendation before council today. The officer report provides a clear and balanced assessment of the planning framework, the intent of the state planning policy, and the community's aspirations. We sincerely appreciate the care taken to understand Narrawana's unique context, including cultural, environmental, access and servicing considerations. The recommendation to endorse the layout plan, subject to incorporating the bushfire management plan measures, reflects pragmatic planning support for the community's long-term goals. I also want to recognise the substantial work undertaken by the Ngurawannna Group Aboriginal Corporation and the community members who have contributed over many years. The Ngurawannna Settlement Layout Plan is an important milestone. It provides a formal, credible planning framework that will guide orderly, community-led development. It gives structure to the community's priorities and ensures that planning aligns with flood and bushfire requirements and essential service considerations. Council's endorsement today will provide the foundation the community needs to progress essential projects, access funding opportunities, and work collaboratively with the Shire and state agencies to improve living conditions and future prospects for Ngurawannna families. We fully support the officer recommendation and respectfully ask Council to endorse the Ngurawannna Settlement Layout Plan with the bushfire management refinements proposed. Thank you for your consideration and for the Shire's ongoing support of the Ngurawannna community. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Tom. All right. 7.3, presentations. We do have 2 presentations. I believe Councillor Day has one.
Yes, I have a presentation from Aware Group thanking the Shire for their generosity and support in supporting the Aware Gala 2025.
Thank you. And also we have another one from Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, correct. Myself and Councillor Day were invited to the Cadets Awards night last Tuesday. It was very good. And they presented a plaque, this one here, to the Shire. Tom Price Emergency Cadets Corps presented to Shire of Ashburton, Vic Hayden Poole, for continual commitment and support of the Tom Price Emergency Services Cadets Corps.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Thank you. Item 8, application for leave of absence. We have not received any. Item 9, en bloc council resolution. 9.1, agenda items adopted en bloc. So the following items have been adopted en bloc. 10.1.1, minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 18th of November 2025 be confirmed as true and accurate record. 10.1.2, minutes of the special council meeting held on the 24th of November 2025 be confirmed as a true and accurate record. 10.2.1, minutes of the Economic and Tourism Development Committee meeting held 18th of November 2025 be received. 10.2.2, minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held 24th November 2025 be received. 10.2.3, minutes of the Onslow Local Emergency Management Committee meeting held on the 12th November 2025 be received. 10.2.4, minutes of the Pannawonica Local Emergency Management Committee meeting held on the 13th of November 2025 be received. 10.2.5, minutes of the Inland Local Emergency Management Committee meeting held on the 27th of November 2025 be received. And 10.2.6, minutes of the Senior Leadership Team meeting held on the 26th of November 2025. May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Day, Councillor White. Is that Councillor Day? Would you like to speak on that? Councillor White. Is there anyone like to speak against? If not, Councillor, may I please have a show of hands in support, please? That is carried. No, 0. Item 11. Recommendation from committee. Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee held on the 9th of December 2025. ARM.1 Strategic Risk Report December 2025. The recommendation from the committee that the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee 1. Received the December quarter strategic risk review report at attachment 1, and 2. Acknowledged the change in risk rating of strategic risk 9 from low to extreme for the reasons outlined in the body of the report. Are there any questions in relation to this item? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Rumble. Councillor Day. Councillor Rumble, would you like to speak on this report item?
No, I'm fine with that, Madam President.
Councillor Day as a seconder. All right, anyone like to speak against? If not, can I please have a show of hands if in support of this item? Thank you, that is carried. 9-0. ARM.2 Audit Log Status Update. The committee's recommendation. The Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee recommends that Council 1. Endorse the closure of 3 validated internal audit actions, numbers 236, 237 and 268 as detailed in attachment 1. 2. Receive the updated internal audit log, outstanding and closed action reports dated 14th November 2025, also as provided at attachment 1. Are there any questions in relation to this,
I
Councillor?
do have, Madam President.
Yep.
In the recommendation, I could not find number 236 or 237 or 268 in the attachment 1. Maybe I've overlooked it or something. Could somebody...
I will pass that on to the Director of Corporate Service.
Sorry, through the chair. Councillor Rumble, can you ask that question again, please?
Sorry?
I just didn't catch your question.
It's in the recommendation, endorsing closed valid internal audit action numbers. I couldn't find those numbers in attachment number 1.
Through the chair, I'll have to take that on notice. It's the internal auditor's report, so I'd have to...
So we don't see those numbers. Like, that's my question.
They would have been in the audit committee agenda.
Or maybe I've looked in the wrong spot.
And it may be in the log that was
The
printed.
spreadsheet.
The spreadsheet that was printed very small for you.
Okay. If it is, I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah,
And it doesn't tell me to look at... Yeah, all right.
no, sorry.
Because the documents I had, I looked everywhere, but I couldn't read the spreadsheet.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. That's all. Thanks, Madam.
Any further questions? No. May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Rumble, Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Rumble, would you like to speak on it?
No, right, Madam President.
Councillor Sullivan? No, thank you. Can I please, Councillor, if there's no one dissent, can I please have a show of hands if you support this item? That is carried. 9-0. ARM.3 Progress on Internal Audit Schedule September 2025 to March 2026. Committee's recommendation that the Audit and Risk Improvement Committee notes the progress of the 2 internal audit endorsed in August 2025. Any questions in this relation to this item? No, may I please?
Yeah, I do. Sorry. Just a question. In the document, it's got the works required for boring, for the core boring for the airport. I thought our Shire had a lot of work already done with that sort of stuff, Keith.
The CEO?
Through the chair, Madam President. Councillor, yes, the Shire has undertaken some limited geotechnical investigations of the site, but this additional geotechnical advice has come forward from previous reports. It says that we need to do it so they can undertake the detailed design of the asphalt surface.
Thank you.
Any other further questions? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Rumble and Councillor White. Does anyone speak against? If not, may I please have a show of hands if you support this item? That's carried 9-0. Item 12, Office of the Chief Executive Officer's Report. 12.1, Onslow Airport runway pavement strengthening and aircraft capacity works, early investigation and project delivery approach. The officer's recommendation that Council authorises the Chief Executive Officer to commence the geotechnical and survey investigation required to progress the Onslow Airport runway pavement strengthening and aircraft capacity works project. 2, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to proceed to detailed design subject to outcomes of the geotechnical and survey investigation. And 3, notes that construction will not proceed and no construction tenders will be awarded until all funding agreements have been executed. Are there any questions in relation to this item? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Pledge. Councillor Sullivan, would you like to speak on this?
Yes, I support the report recommending early investigations into runway pavement strengthening at Onslow Airport. Aviation infrastructure is essential in remote regions, enabling both economic activity and the delivery of essential services. The investigation work outlined is a proactive step that helps plan for the future upgrades rather than waiting until issues emerge. This early approach reduces long-term costs and improves safety outcomes and supports the ongoing reliability for industry and community users, particularly with the change in aircrafts approaching us. I appreciate the forward planning demonstrated in this report and support the recommendation.
Councillor Pledge, would you like to speak? No? Would there anyone like to speak against this item? If there isn't, councillors, if you support, please show of hands. Councillor Healy, thank you. That is carried 9-0. 12.2, Shire of Ashburton Strategic Tourism Communication and Marketing Plan. Officer's recommendation that Council endorses the 2025-2030 Shire of Ashburton Strategic Tourism Communications and Marketing Plan as provided at Attachment 1. Are there any questions in relation to this item? I have one question. Do I direct this easy? Or yourself? So, just want to ask, it states there that there's a position for Tourism Marketing Administration Officer. What is that status and the timing for that? Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Madam President. The timing for that is after the 26-27 budget has been adopted, if the position gets endorsed by Council and the associated funding.
Thank you. Are there any further questions, councillors? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Fox. Councillor Sullivan, as a mover, would you like to speak on this item?
Yes, I support the Strategic Tourism Communications and Marketing Plan. Tourism is a major opportunity for our region, and this plan gives the Shire a clear, coordinated direction for promoting our natural landscapes, cultural heritage and visitor experiences. The plan demonstrates a professional approach to branding, messaging, partnerships and campaign strategies. This is essential for reaching national and international audiences and strengthening local business opportunities. I believe this plan positions the Shire for our long-term tourism growth, and I support its adoption.
Councillor Fox, as a seconder, would you like to speak on this item?
No.
Thank you. Anyone like to speak against? If not, councillors, if you support this item, please put a show of hands, please. That is carried 9-0. 12.3, Development Application DA 25-43, Paraburdoo Airport Extension, Lot 300, Crown Reserve. Officer's recommendation that Council notes the Chief Executive Officer's intention to approve development application DA 25-43 for Paraburdoo Airport Terminal and car park upgrades under Council's delegation 8 of the 1st 02, 8.01.02, determination of development applications following the close of the external agency referral period on 17th of December 2025, subject to the draft conditions contained in Attachment 1, with any additions or modifications deemed necessary by the Chief Executive Officer to address agency comments. Are there any questions, councillors, in this relation? Oh, my apologies. Yep, please note that Councillor Fox, Councillor Rumble and Councillor Sullivan have left the room at 1:31 p.m. and Councillor Rogers as well. No, we do. Councillors, any questions in relation to this item? Nope. So can I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor De Pledge, Councillor White. Councillor, if there's no dissent, can I please show a hand if you support this item? That is carried 5-0. Can we please have the other councillors back in? Can we note that 132? Councillor Rumble. Okay, councillors, that went through with no with carried 5-0 as per officer's recommendation. 12.4, Nawara Settlement Layout Plan. Officer's recommendation that Council endorse the Nawara Settlement Layout Plan as detailed in Attachment 1, subject to including the recommendation of the Bushfire Management Plan and the location of the firefighting water tank and emergency refuge location. Are there any questions in relation to this item, councillors? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Day and Councillor Rogers. Councillor Day, as a mover, would you like to speak on this item?
No, I do not.
Councillor Rogers.
No.
Is there anyone like to speak against? Not councillors. Have show of hands to support this item. That is 8-0. Item 13, Corporate Service Report. 13.1, Strategic Briefing. Officer's recommendation that Council supports the scheduling of strategic briefings to be held on the Monday evening, a week prior to each ordinary Council meeting commencing in February 2026. 2, notes that where the Monday is a public holiday, the strategic briefing will be scheduled for the Tuesday. Councillors, are there any questions in relation to this item? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor De Pledge. Seconder, Councillor Day. Councillor De Pledge, as a mover, would you like to speak on this item?
No.
Councillor Day, as a seconder.
No.
Does anyone like to speak against? Not, may I please have a show of hands, councillors, who support this recommendation? That is carried 9-0. Did we note that Councillor Rumble has returned? Thank you. Item 13.2, Periodic Review Elected Members Policy. Officers' recommendation that Council endorse the amendments of the following Council policy as presented. Elected members continuing professional development, attachment 1. B, elected member and chief executive officer attendance at events, attachment 2. C, elected members' photographs, attachment 3. D, elected members' information requests, attachment 4. E, elected members' entitlements, attachment 5. And F, elected members' record keeping, attachment 6. 2, endorses the review of the following policies without change. A, elected members' recognition of service. And B, legal representation for elected members and employees as provided and detailed in attachment 1. Are there any questions in relation to this item? May I please have a move and a second? Councillor White, Councillor De Pledge. Councillor White, as a mover, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I like the things that we workshopped earlier. So I'm very happy with it.
Councillor De Pledge?
No, not really. I think it's good. Yep.
So we do have a proposed amendment from Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Sullivan, would you like to read your proposed amendment?
I can't read that. I'm sorry. Could somebody blow it up or read it for me? 1 and 2 remain the same.
Yeah. Councillor Sullivan.
Yeah.
It's on my screen. I'm showing it to you so you can read it.
Yeah. Sorry. The officer has deleted 1 and 2. 1 and 2 remain the same. 3 is.
So that's what I'm saying, if you want to read your amendment there.
Yeah. So 1 and 2 remain the same.
Yeah,
And
just move the wording down to
No,
the rates.
yeah.
yeah. And 3 is deletes proposed clause 3.5 from the council policy elected member continuing professional development. And 4 is deletes the following proposed paragraph in clause 2.11 from the council policy elected member entitlements. Claims for eligible travel or meal reimbursements must be submitted in writing with all necessary supporting evidence not more than 1 month after attending Shire convened or supported external meeting approved professional development.
So that's going to point, is that added to the extra points?
Yes, so this would, council needs to vote on the amendment.
Yes. So Councillor Sullivan is moving for. Have a seconder for that amendment? So now I'm going back to the substantive to add. No? Okay, Councillor
I would
Sullivan,
like to.
as a mover, you can speak for the amendment.
Thank you, Madam President. I wish to speak against the 2 changes that I've outlined in 13.2, the introduction of clause 3.5 in the elected member continuing professional development policy, and the proposed change to clause 3.11C in the elected member entitlements policy. Firstly, regarding the new clause 3.5. This clause requires elected members to reimburse the Shire for the full cost of approved training if they are unable to attend or complete it, unless the CEO determines that exceptional circumstances apply. I believe this clause is unnecessary, punitive, and creates an unreasonable level of administrative and financial risk for elected members. We all undertake professional development in good faith, and we do so while balancing work, family responsibilities, and the realities of living and serving in one of the largest and most remote regions in Australia. Circumstances such as illness, flight cancellations, extreme weather events, caring responsibilities, and unexpected work demands are common realities here. By requiring repayment of training costs, this clause risks discouraging elected members from engaging in professional development altogether. The outcome directly contradicts the purpose of the policy, which is to build a capable, well-trained, confident and community representatives. In addition, the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996 already clearly addresses the reimbursement of elected member costs. Regulation 32 sets out the circumstances in which a local government reimburse costs properly incurred in performing the role of councillor. The legislation provides a framework designed to support elected members, not penalise them. Clause 3.5 introduces a punitive repayment mechanism that goes far beyond anything contemplated in the Act or regulations. It is neither necessary nor aligned with the intent of the law. For these reasons, I cannot support the inclusion of Clause 3.5. Secondly, I wish to object to Clause 2.11c of the elected member entitlements policy, which requires all reimbursement claims to be submitted within 1 month. While the intention is understandable, this strict deadline does not reflect the practical realities of elected member life in regional Western Australia. Elected members are not salaried employees. Many work full-time, travel extensively, volunteer, sit on community groups and deliver events, as well as have family commitments. Elected members manage these multiple commitments along with administrative tasks that must be fitted in around these obligations. Delays in receiving tax invoices, extended periods away from home, or simply dealing with competing priorities can all make it difficult to consistently meet a rigid 30-day deadline. A late receipt does not make an expense any less legitimate under the legislation. Once again, the regulations require reimbursement of prescribed expenses incurred in carrying out official duties, and they do not impose a strict timeframe that invalidate a claim. The Shire has robust internal financial systems already in place to verify and approve expenses. Good governance does not require rigid deadlines that introduce unnecessary administrative pressure and risk penalising elected members. Bogging down council meetings with a $25 lunch reimbursement is ludicrous, or a fuel reimbursement for a council meeting. This does not demonstrate strong leadership. A strict 1 month requirement also risks elected members personally absorbing legitimate out-of-pocket costs if the deadline is missed by just a few days. This is not fair. It is not reasonable, and it does not support the intent of encouraging participation in Shire business, professional development, or external events. In closing, I want to emphasise that I strongly support good governance, I support accountability, and I support clear policy frameworks. However, those frameworks must also be practical, reasonable, and supportive of elected members fulfilling their role effectively. Clauses 3.5 and 2.11c do not achieve that balance. For these reasons, I cannot support the introduction of Clause 3.5 nor the amendment to Clause 211c, and hence my amendment to delete both provisions from the policy review. Thank you.
Councillor Rumble, as the seconder, would you like to speak on this?
The only point.
Yeah,
Thank you. My main point was with the attendance of courses, and if a person failed in their attendance to pass the course, my main concern would they'd have to pay back the money to cancel. That's how I understand it, and that was the only thing I was really against. I think if people show that they've attended the training and they've done the best they can and done the exams or whatever it is, and they don't pass, I don't think there should be a need to pay the money back to council. That was my main only concern, really. Yeah.
Anyone speak against?
Yes.
Councillor White.
Yeah, I am speaking against it because we have gone through as a council previous councillors that went away and did certain parts of training and all took the airfares down, the accommodation, the lot, and never handed in the assignments. We've gone through this twice already in the last few years, and I think it's fair, like, if they don't attend and then do the work that's required and pass the things, they should pay back council the money. The staff have to pay back council if they don't pass or attend everything and hand in the assignments. It's not about the passing, it's about doing the assignments and completing the course. They're pretty easy, really, if you concentrate on it. And I can't see why we can't have our receipts in a month. Every time you come to a council meeting, you're handed the forms to fill out for your travel and your meal allowances. You have the internet where you can send a copy of your bills, you can photograph them and message them or whatever. So I don't think there's a problem. And then what used to happen was some councillors never used to fill them out for 6 months and then hand them to the staff after June 30 and stuff, and expect staff to go through all the months of was this true or was that not true or whatever. I think that the policy that was before us, I think it's a great policy and it should be voted on that way.
We're
That's-
talking about the amendment.
Yeah, not the amendment, I'm talking about the original policy.
Okay, is anyone like to speak for? Anyone else? If not, Councillor Sullivan as the mover. Oh, sorry, Councillor Healy?
Yeah, I am supportive of the amendments that Deputy President Sullivan has put forward. I think that the timeline, I can see how that can improve from a staff perspective. It can improve being able to balance things quicker. It does make sense. However, if it does mean that a council member is late with that, it is already legislated that a council member shouldn't incur expense in their role. So I do think that I agree with this amendment. The same with the training. I'm not sure that that using examples of previous members from before. This is my 3rd year in council, and I'm not personally aware of a case where someone going to training hasn't at least attempted to finish their training. If somebody does go, I think I agree with Councillor Rumble, if someone does go through their exams and fails, but they have done all of the work, it still shows due diligence on their part for taking part in that training and showing that they're willing to develop their skills as well. So I am in agreement with this amendment.
Anyone speak against? Oh, Councillor de Pledge.
Yes, I think we're here to we volunteer to serve our community, and we already get remunerated quite well, I believe. So we're not here for financial advice, advancement. So I think we're remunerated quite well. So I don't see any need for the amendment. I'm against.
Anyone else like to speak for? If not, Councillor Sullivan as the mover, you can have right of reply.
In closing, I want to emphasise that this is not about avoiding accountability or avoiding responsibility. It is about ensuring that our governance framework is balanced, fair, and reflects the realities of serving as an elected member in a remote regional community. Good governance is not created by punitive clauses or rigid administrative hurdles. It is created by policies that support elected members to do their job well, comply with the law, the legislation, and access the training they need without fear of financial penalty or unreasonable time pressures. Clauses 3.5 and 2.11c do not strengthen our governance, they create barriers. They introduce unnecessary risk for elected members who have already given their time, energy, and personal resources to their communities. They go beyond what is required under the Local Government Act and regulations and may discourage elected members from seeking development or even representing the Shire. We should be encouraging capability and not discouraging participation. For all of these reasons, I believe the proposed clauses are neither fair nor practical, and I ask my fellow councillors to consider supporting my amendment to delete them. Thank you.
Okay, councillors, I'm going to have us a show of hands if you're in support of this motion, amended motion. Yes. That is 1, 2. Councillor Fox. 3. That is 3 out of 9. So it's 3-6. So the amendment is lost. So we go back to the substantive motion as it stands. sorry. Which is. Okay, now we'll go back to the original. Councillor White, as the mover, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, I've already spoken. Madam President, I've already spoken about this. I think it's a good policy and it needs the support of council. And by this policy also, it gives the staff clear direction with the financials, especially with, they've got enough to do except add up for 2 or 3 months, little dockets for meals and things like that. And also, like I said before, we've had people, councillors go and do all the training.
Can we just keep to facts,
Yeah,
please? Yeah.
so I'd like everybody to support the original council recommendation, what the staff have put forward.
Councillor Pledge, as the seconder, sorry, would you like to speak on this?
No, I think I've already
Yeah.
made my position clear.
Is there anyone to speak against? Councillor Sullivan.
Yes, I've made my position clear as well, but I just want to point out that I am against.
Thank you. Anyone else speak for? Okay, councillors, may I please have a show of hand if you're in support of the original recommendation? That is 2, 4, 6, 7. That is 7-2.
Well, you've got to stimulate good.
Thank you, councillors. 13.3, biannual review, code of conduct for council members, committee members and candidates. The recommendation from the officer that council accepts the review of the code of conduct for council members, committee members and candidates and endorses the amendments as detailed in attachment 1. Are there any questions in relation to this item, councillors? If not, may I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Rumble, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Rumble, as the mover, would you like to speak on this item?
Yes, I'd like to speak on this item. I'd like to thank our Jasmine, our Shire staff for a great presentation today with code of conduct, and I think it was appreciated by most people attended it. So thank you. That's all.
Councillor Rogers, as the seconder, do you wish to speak on this item?
No, I think Councillor Rumbles said it pretty well.
Anyone like to speak against? If not, councillors, may I please show of hand if you're in support of this item? That is carried, 9-0. 13.4, elected members' professional development, training requests, Councillor Alana Sullivan. Officer's recommendation that Council approves Councillor Sullivan's enrolment in the Australian Industry Company Directors course, inclusive of a specific one-off 12-month membership for the amount of $10,670. Notes that there are sufficient funds to cover the costs associated with enrolment and other directly related costs in existing professional development training allocation for elected members. Are there any questions in... Sorry, Councillor Sullivan has left the room at 1:54 p.m. Any questions in relation to this item? May I please have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move it, Madam President.
Seconder, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Rumble, as a mover, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I'll talk on this. I think our caretaking CEO mentioned to councillors that he thought this was a valuable course to do for all councillors to get their heads around what it's like to run local government, Shire. And as Councillor Sullivan's demonstrates, she's done the completed a diploma in local government, which that was a grant to the Shire. So there was no cost to the Shire, I believe just a couple of airfares, if that. So I believe I support this, her doing this this training.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers, as a seconder, would you like to speak on it?
Just mention that the 12-month membership, that's a good way to reduce that overall cost of the course. So, yeah, applying that membership, that's a crafty way to save a few dollars.
Thank you. Anyone like to speak against? If not, councillor, may I please have a show of hands if you're in support of this item? That is carried 8-0. Can someone please let councillor Sullivan back in? Thank you. Councillor Sullivan has returned at 1:55 p.m. So councillor Sullivan, that item has gone through, 8-0. Congratulations. 13.5, monthly schedule of accounts paid November 2025. That Council, in accordance with Regulation 13 and 13A of the Local Government Financial Management Resolution 1996, confirmed a monthly schedule of accounts paid for October 2025, inclusive of purchasing cards payments for November 2025, as included in Attachment 1. Are there any questions in relation to this item? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor White and Councillor Fox. Councillor White, as a mover, would you like to speak on it? No. Councillor Fox.
No.
Okay. Anyone speak against? No. Can I please have a show of hands in support of this item? That is carried 9-0. 13.6, monthly financial statements, November 2025. The officer's recommendation that Council, in accordance with Regulation 34 of the Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996, accepts the statement of financial activity and associated documentation for October 2025 as included at Attachment 1. Any questions in relation to this item, councillors? No. May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Rumble, Councillor Fox. Councillor Rumble, as a mover, would you like to speak on this?
No, thanks, Madam President. I think it's okay.
Councillor Fox?
No.
All right. Anyone to speak against? No. Please, show of hands, councillors, if you're in support of this item. That is carried 9-0. 13.7. December Finance Review Budget Amendments. Officer's recommendation that Council, with respect to the December Finance Review and in accordance with Section 6.8 of the Local Government Act 1995, approves the budget amendments contained within Attachment 1 for the inclusion in the 2025-26 annual budget. Is there any questions in relation to this item? Councillors, may I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor De Pledge and Councillor Fox. Councillor De Pledge, as a mover, would you like to speak on this item?
No.
Councillor Fox?
No.
Anyone speak against? Not. May I please have a show of hands, councillor, if you support in this item? Councillor Rumble, thank you. That is carried 9-0. Item 14, Infrastructure Services Report. We do not have any. Item 15, Community Development Report. 15.1, Requests to the Minister for Planning and Lands change the purpose of Reserve 40798. Officer's recommendation that Council, in respect of Reserve Number 40798 Canberra Drive, Tom Price, comprising the whole of Lot 501 on Deposited Plan 406730, Certificate of Title Volume LR 3165, Folio 771, requests the Minister for Planning and Lands to 1. pursuant to Section 51 of the Land Administration Act 1997, change the purpose of the reserve from club and club premises to Shire workforce accommodation, and 2, pursuant to Section 46 of the Land Administration Act 1997, change the reserve management order to the Shire of Ashburton, document number N148093, registered on 14th of October 2015, to allow use of the reserve for the purpose of Shire workforce accommodation with the power to lease for up to 21 years. Councillors, are there any questions in relation? Councillor
I'd like to
White.
suspend standing orders because this needs a lot of discussion, I feel. So may I move to suspend standing orders?
Can I have a seconder to?
Yeah, I'll second that.
So White, Councillor Rumble, councillors, can you please show of hands in support if you want to suspend standing orders? Councillor Healy, do you against here? Oh, yes. That is carried 9-0. All right, just now we have suspending orders. Councillor White.
Yeah, I've got reservations regarding this. I don't think there's enough information from the planning department of what we could rezone this lot as. We heard earlier today that there's another 2 houses to be demolished in Tom Price, so that gives us another 2 blocks. The cost of a transportable, 24-man transportable camp on this block, we heard earlier today, is $5 million for just the power and the water. I'd hate to know what the cost is for the tie-downs, the laundry, all the accessories, the fire hydrant, the whole lot. I'm very confused of what is the best outcome for the development of that lot. And because we need the housing like tomorrow, planning takes a long time to get stuff rezoned through.
So you can't build any staff accommodation on that lot anyway without reclassifying it.
That's
Okay,
right.
so that's the first thing you need to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't build houses, you can't build a camp.
That's right.
And I'll just reiterate what I said earlier. You can't build houses without any accommodation for contractors. The $5 million is headworks to do housing development over in that Canberra Drive. That's got nothing to do with the camp.
So my next question is, well, what would it cost to put the power and water there for a camp? We don't know.
So those costings have been done with Rio at the moment, and it's very minimal, and we're looking at transportable systems, so we don't have to do that heavy headworks for the camp.
So we don't have.
It's a temporary camp. It's for 5 years, and it's the only solution so we can get projects done in Tom Price. And it's not a camp in the traditional sense that we have seen before, run by ESS. This is a self-sufficient camp. So it'll have a mess in there that they will have cooking facilities, so they will cook themselves, they'll provide their own food. It is no different to the 8-bed camp at the Cartoon Shank in Onslow.
So we don't have to have fire hydrants and any of that?
You will have to have some fire equipment, but we're working with the fire engineer on what that looks like, and it's outside of a bushfire prone area. So
And
we're lucky there.
Have you an estimate on what this camp would actually cost to build?
$5
Put
million.
there?
$5
$5
million.
million. Well, $5 million would build us 5 houses on the blocks that we're going to have spare in Tom Price, and then they're permanent 3x2s that we need.
Sorry, you're still not getting the big. Sorry.
I am getting the big picture here. I just feel that if we change that to workforce accommodation like that,
Can't build a staff accommodation there either. It's not zoned, so you have to change the zoning. It's zoned for clubs and recreation.
yes,
so,
I know that, but with the blocks of land that have already got the power and the water too, just need subdividing into 2 to build 3x2s on.
We haven't got any land in Tom Price that's serviced unless it's the ones that we need to demolish.
Well, what happened to the other block that we demolished that house on? And what happened when we demolished the, what do you call it, the yellow house as I call it?
On Pine Street.
Yeah, on Pine Street or whatever
But
it is.
you've got to move those people out, and we haven't got the housing stock, and that's the problem.
It's going to take longer to get a camp there, and why spend $5 million extra on the thing when we're not going to have anything at the end of the day is my thing. Whereas Otherwise, we'll have houses sitting there in Tom Price for the staff to work in the new offices. We need that. We need to build these houses in Tom Price. We've
And
been
that's-
saying that for 2 years now and nothing's happened.
Because we don't have
I
accommodation.
think the point.
Councillor Healy.
I think the point, Councillor White, is that we need in order for these projects that we would like to go to head, there needs to be somewhere for the workers to stay. That if we don't find a solution for that, then none of these projects will go ahead.
Keep going. We're off standing order, so you
Yeah, we're
can
off
speak
standing
freely.
orders, so everybody say what you
I-
think.
Just for clarification, we're just approving today the land
Change in the
change
top
of land.
zone.
We're approving what's
Yeah,
under.
that's right. And if we're going to come back with a workforce accommodation, that would have to come to council anyway. Is that
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the next step.
And my understanding, the overall picture is that we can't build houses, we can't do anything unless we've got workers.
Accommodation.
Yeah, workers' accommodation. So does not the workers' accommodation need to come first before we can build our houses and our
Correct.
bits?
We've been able to build the, what do you call it, Minion Oval. Now we're able to build the Tom Price softball building, which is a $4 million building, without a workforce camp.
We have had to offer.
Houses in Tom Price that are permanent, that's what I want, permanent housing there for the staff when we build the offices after that. When the contractors all go, then the housing comes back to us for staff. Instead of wasting $5 million on a camp that's only going to do us for 4 or 5 years. It's a lot of money. I've seen what camps are, Linton and I've been through it. You've got to dig up footpaths, you've got to do a lot of stuff.
It's not like what it
Chantel
was.
reckons you've got a camp.
Sorry, Councillor Rumble, you need to have your speak.
Oh, do I?
Your microphone on. Just,
Okay, I've got me to know, man. Okay, now?
you can just speak because it's off standing order.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I know, but I thought you were still calling us in order.
Yeah.
So my question to Chantel is, to build a $5 million workers accommodation camp, you're going to need a number of workers. Is that number of workers less than the number of workers it would take to build the residential accommodation that Councillor White wants to build? Because it sounds to me like you're doing 2 lots of builds, you're going to need the same amount of workers.
Yeah, so if we had a camp, we could have multiple projects going at the same time. So it'll be housing, the Tom Price admin building, the Tom Price
But specifically the question is it the same amount of workers to build a $5 million camp as it is to build the 5 residential houses that Councillor White?
No.
You reckon it's a smaller
It's
workforce?
much smaller, it's transportable.
Because it's modular?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
So going back to me, I believe in Onslow you've already had one of these camps. I don't like the word camp, right? Because our Shire is against having camps, right? So this
Workforce accommodation.
workplace accommodation that's in Onslow, I reckon it'd be great for us to go and have even though we're not dealing with this, we're only dealing with the land change.
Yep.
It'd be good for councillors to go and have a look at what this.
Based on the same principle, except the projects are of bigger scale for Tom Price that are needed.
Yeah, but I totally support Councillor White that, it's all about money and it's all about investment and what your return is. I understand where you're coming from, but.
We don't have the houses to offer to offset the contractors to stay in our own houses. With the staffing that we've got now, for example, infrastructure services is down to 1 TMO. The houses that have been left empty, and we've just discovered all this in the last week, we've reallocated to essential services like TMOs and cleaners.
Rightio.
There are no empty houses.
Okay.
We've allocated 1 3-bedroom unit on Canberra Drive to the softball diamond to subsidise the construction to get the project done on the softball diamond because they cannot get any accommodation in Tom Price.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think when we're talking about anything that with finances, we need to be looking to a long-term sustainable future. And in order to do that, building something like this workforce is going to improve future projects. So more can be done in a shorter amount of time in the future. I think that's a great way to invest.
We are not competitive at the moment when we're going out for tender. We cannot bring anyone in the outside of Tom Price besides your normal players, your Bencos and your Biblosses, because we can't get accommodation. They can't get accommodation. The contractors can't get accommodation. They can't get accommodation out at the caravan park, and they can't get accommodation at the Tom Price Motel.
So just to confirm that, we're waiting on Main Road to come down to fix a number of issues in town. They can't get accommodation for 10 people there at the moment, so they're still trying to get people in there to accommodate them. We've just been doing work out on Banjima Road, some shoulder work. The traffic management company could not get into Tom Price. They're at Oski Roadhouse. That's their accommodation, travelling an hour and 15 minutes each way to the job site to be able to provide for us. I think the other thing to mention is things like our asphalt program, for instance, that we put up. It's just over $1 million. 10% of that is accommodation costs. So you're paying 100,000 out of $1 million accommodation costs. So you'll recoup the $5 million back from not having to pay accommodation costs in these bigger projects as we go forward if we can provide the accommodation through to the companies. So I think that's the other thing, just to bear that in mind as well.
And also, like, you look at the
Sorry,
regulations.
Councillor
okay?
White,
Yeah,
you'll
sorry.
need your mic on.
Yeah, you look at the regulations. Camp over 25 people has different regulations completely, and you've got to comply with all these issues. I noticed where the thing said 24, wasn't that magical? Just comes under the 25.
And
I thought that's pretty smart when I read the regs.
No.
You know, like, we've been through camps here. We know what it's like with security and with the troubles that happen. This Shire doesn't need that, that's for sure. With people that work, you know, that are doing work for us, they often go off their trolley and stuff. And you're going to have tie downs for it because it's in a site. You know, Tom Price gets those terrible winds. They cost a fortune. We know from out the airport. They were around about $400 or $500 for each one. And there was
So
4.
Tom Price is Region A, so it's completely different to the regulations for Region D in Onslow. Onslow is Region D. Tom Price and Parabadoo is Region A. And as far as regulations about the camp, that homework has been done, and it's a 34-man camp to a 24-man camp, and that's based on the projects that are in your long-term financial plan for delivery.
So you're going to go over 24. You're going to go to 25 or more.
We're doing
you've got all the regulations that are government regulations, as you know.
There's no
the health and
that
safety.
That size camp. It's not the same as a camp that you've got out at Rio.
No,
it's none
but
of that.
even at 24, we're going to have cleaners there. People.
We are going to have cleaners.
Yeah, and what do you call it? Provide them with food. They're going to have a kitchen, laundry.
No. They will have to have a laundry,
Yes.
and it'll be no different to the 8-bed camp. It's self-service. So they supply their own food, they do their own cooking. It's no different to a transit
They clean
house.
their own.
They do all their own laundry, but their rooms will have to be serviced once a week.
This is it. I want to know the whole cost. I just feel that it's a big decision to make to change the planning without a planning officer recommending this, that it can be just left as staff residential. And what's the difference between saying that and then we could sell blocks off later on or whatever? It's a residential.
It is for staff. It does say in there it's staff accommodation.
Yes.
So it's not transport workers accommodation. It is for staff accommodation because the zoning is for sport and rec.
Yes, I know
Apparently.
that, but when we change the zoning, this is what I'm a bit confused about because I don't want to make a mistake with the planning of changing the zoning.
It's not zoning. It's the reserve purpose.
The
It's
reserve
the reserve
purpose, yes,
purpose. So
yes.
it's got nothing to do with the zoning.
Okay.
So, one point I want to make is that Parabadoo's got 30 blocks of land that Rio got. They've been sitting it on for years, and we don't push them along to ask them to throw some land over to us, where we could develop just things that Gavin raised there about having accommodation. I've raised this before in council about having other services that probably outside our business can use accommodation to do their work, like telecom and a hospital or whatever, and small businesses.
Yeah, well, when we get the caravan park at Parabadoo,
Oh,
put some units there and they can stay there.
Sorry,
But
through
anyway,
the
we're going
chair,
over here, but I just
Hang
don't-
on, sorry, Councillor
sorry,
White.
through the chair. Can I just also, Ours, as administration officers, have exhausted all avenues for accommodation. There is no accommodation available in Paraburdoo. It's all been given to WACS to do the hospital, to build the hospital in Tom Price. So that's 2 years. There's no accommodation available. So they are travelling from Paraburdoo to Tom Price to construct that hospital.
Right?
Yes.
And that's
And I
2
thought
years.
Paraburdoo was first anyway.
No.
So, councillor, can you please
sorry.
switch it off?
What-
Yes,
what-
go.
what if you-
Thank you. I've been enjoying the robust conversation and different points of view. Councillor White, do you have an alternative recommendation for us to consider?
I'm standing on, so we
Yeah.
have to go
Yeah,
back.
we're not there yet. I just don't think I've got enough information to make an informed decision, to tell you the truth, and I think this should lay on the table. I really do.
Oh,
Well, that's up to if we get a first and a seconder. So
Hang on.
I'm not sure on
Yeah.
what we can make
No,
it.
hang on. This is
Councillor
about-
Rumble, if you're going to speak,
Oh,
you need
rightio,
your
okay,
mic.
Okay, Madam President. Look, this is just about changing the usage of the land, so we want to move ahead with that, and the other stuff we'll do with that later.
I just think,
I think we're really getting mixed up a bit here.
yes, I just think we have all these projects we all want to build in Tom Price, and hence also there might be some in Paraburdoo in the future, in the next 5 years. So, right, and don't forget as well, like what Director of Community Development have said, we already given the state government accommodation in Paraburdoo for the Tom Price Hospital. And also, don't forget, we are also going to have more people coming in to fix or to redevelop that airport. So there will be, in the next 5 years, no accommodation, and we won't have any. So if we want all these projects we all want us that we have approved and that's sitting in our capital expenditure budget to go ahead, where are we going to house these people? It's going to take a bit longer and to build. I understand. I know there should be housing for staff. So then I understand what you're saying, Councillor White, but we need something quick and fast, and so that we can move forward with our projects. So my question is, I know what you're saying, but where are we going to house these people? I was definitely not going to house them in my house.
Madam
Yes,
President?
Councillor. Sorry, CEO.
Thank you, Madam President and Council. Council, I think this reflects the value of our strategic briefing meetings that are going to start in February. This is the type of dialogue that we have at those meetings, and I think it's going to be very constructive. Council, we really appreciate the insight and your concerns and the pros and cons of the project and bring that to the table. What I request is that we proceed with this, but we take your comments today that you've made, and as the leadership team, we sit down and start to go through that and bring your comments to bear over this project before we move anywhere near construction or issuing purchase orders for the construction of.
Yeah, it seems quite strange the last CEO brought a thing to
Hang
council.
on. You need to put your mic on.
It seems quite strange. The last CEO brought a project to council regarding, called it Melrose Place, and there was going to be 36 units on that block, and he wasn't changing any zoning, so I don't know what's going on here.
That's a different.
Sorry, the previous CEO was building permanent accommodation for our staff, Melrose Place. That's what he was referring to. How that was ever going to come about with not having any accommodation is anyone's guess. But there's steps that we've got to follow to get something in place to be able to do any further development in Tom Price. We can't even get footpaths done. We can't even get the basics done at the moment in Tom Price because we just don't have accommodation.
Councillor Pledge.
It's been good debate. I just think we're just changing the zoning of the land. I think for me personally, I've heard enough info to make a decision on changing the zone of land. I'm obviously pretty short accommodation. That's just my two bobs worth. Thanks.
Councillor Sullivan.
I have a question for the Director of Communities. Is that what you call these days?
Development.
Community Development. if we get this zoning land changed, would there be any appetite to attract state or federal funding for key worker accommodation for this bill?
Oh, possibly. We did apply for some funding for other key worker accommodation for us in Onslow and we got denied. So we always try. We always try.
All right, I think we have had discussions, and so can I please have a mover and a seconder to go back into standing orders? Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Rumble. All right. Anyone? Can I please have show of hands, councillors, to go back into standing orders? That is carried 9-0. So, as per the officer's recommendation, may I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Rumble. Councillor Sullivan, as the mover, would you like to speak on it?
Yeah, just briefly, I support the request to the Minister for a change of the proposed reserve 40798. Adjusting the reserve purpose ensures land use will remain aligned with future Shire needs. This report demonstrates that the proposed change is both appropriate and beneficial for the Shire, reflecting responsible land management and long-term planning. I look forward to the Minister's consideration.
Councillor Rumble, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, there's not much to talk on except put it to council. Thank you.
So, you like to put the motion?
Oh, no. No, I'm right, Madam President.
Okay. So, would anyone like to speak against? If not, Councillor, yes, Councillor White, did you want to speak against?
No, I've already said my piece.
All right, councillors, may I please have a show of hands if you support this item? That is 8-1. Thank you, councillors. 15.2. Request for tender 18.25 design and constructed Tilwana Oval Softball Clubhouse redevelopment. That council accepts the evaluation panel's recommendation as providing confidential attachment 1 and approved the award of a contract to tenderer 1 for the tendered works under request for tender 18.25 design and construct Tilwana Oval Softball Clubhouse redevelopment for the total contract price of $3,999,074.91, excluding GST and inclusive of all preliminaries, materials, labour, delivery and deliverables. 2. Approved a budget amendment as per the table on the screen. 3. Authorise the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate and enter a formal contract with tenderer 1 for the tendered works under request for tender 18.25 design and construct Tilwana Oval Softball Clubhouse redevelopment. Any questions? Yes, Councillor Sullivan.
Yes, my question is to the Director of Corporate Services. I notice the officer recommendation, housing reserve transfer of 335.97. Why is the housing reserve targeted in this item?
Through the chair, the insurance payout was quarantined at the end of last financial year. Provided another $2 million from the future reserve at the budget, so that's where we got the $2.4 million, and then the tender, because of the extra opportunity to extend the footprint, requires the extra $2 million, and that's coming from the $5 million that's in the current year's budget for a transfer to the housing reserve, like we talked about this morning. And the aim would be is to identify savings through the balance of 25-26 to ensure that that housing reserve transfer occurs in some form by the end of 25-26.
So a further question related to the information you've just given us. You're going to guarantee that 335.97 goes back into the housing reserve?
Sorry, through the chair, no, that's not what I'm saying. The 335 is actually the insurance money that we received as a result of the storm damage sustained to the softball diamond back in November. So the rebuild of the softball diamond had an initial budget allocation for council last year of 2 million from the future reserve and the insurance claim of 358. And then the total rebuild of the Diamond Club is now coming in closer to 4.5 because of the extension. And that 2 million is being proposed to come from the budgeted reserve transfer to the housing reserve. So we're using a previous allocation of council to the housing reserve to get the softball Diamond Club project off. That's taken precedence. And so then the idea would be, if that's council's objective, to ensure that we still fund staff housing, that when cash flow allows, we will rebalance that reserve transfer.
Any other questions? May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Day, Councillor Fox. Councillor Day, thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Day, as a mover, would you like to speak on it?
No, thank you.
Councillor Fox?
No.
All right, Councillor, anyone speak against? No. May I please have a show of hands in support of this? Thank you, that is carried 9-0. Item 16, council agenda items, notice of motion. We do not have any. Item 17, new business of an urgent nature introduced by council decision. We do have one procedural motion. Officer's recommendation that council at 2:26 p.m. pursuant to clause 5.4 of the Shire of Ashburton Standing Orders Local Law 2012, introduce the following item as new business of an urgent nature. L.1, request for the quotation 16.25 Ashburton Downs, Meekatharra Road. L.2, request for quotation 17.25 Roburn and Whitman Road. L.3, request for quotation 18.25 Tawara and Tawara Linden Road. May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor De Pledge, Councillor White. Councillor De Pledge, would you like to speak on this item?
No, it's all good, but I think it's good that it's going ahead. Yep.
Councillor White? No. All right, councillor speak against? May I please have a show of hands in support of this? That is carried 9-0. So. Okay, item 18. That is what I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my L1, request for quotation 16.25 Ashburton Downs and Meekatharra Road. Council accepts the evaluation panel's recommendation as provided in confidential attachment 1 and approve the award of a contract to contractor 1 for the quoted works under request for quotation 16.25 Ashburton Downs, Meekatharra Road for $4,249,660,000 excluding GST. Notes that $450,000 for the Ashburton Downs heavy maintenance grading will come from the existing regional road maintenance budget RC 26002. 3. Authorises the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate and enter a formal contract with Contractor 1 for the quoted works under request for quotation 16.25 Ashburton Downs, Meekatharra Road. May I please have a move and a seconder? Councillor White and Councillor Rogers. Anyone speak against? If not, councillors, may I please have a show of hands if you're in support of this? That is carried 9-0. L.2, request for quotation 17.25 Roburn Whitman Road. recommendation, Council accepts the evaluation panel's recommendation as provided in confidential attachment 1 and approve the award of a contract to contractor 1 for the quoted works under request for quotation 17.25 Roban Whitman Road for $4,157,235 excluding GST. Authorise the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate and enter a formal contract with contractors 1 for the quoted works under request for quotation 17.25 Roban Whitman Road. May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Pledge, Councillor White. Anyone want to speak against? If there is no one against, councillors, show of hands, support of this item. Councillor Day, you support this item or against? Thank you. That is carried 9-0. L.3 request for quotation 18.25 Tora Linden Road. Council accepts the evaluation panel's recommendation as provided in confidential attachment 1 and approve the award of a contract to contractor 1 for the quoted works under request for quotation 18.25 Tora Linden Road for $3,258,305 excluding GST. Approved budget reallocation of $38,305 from Acts 3518 Roban Whitman Road to Acts 2998 Tora Linden Road. 3. Authorises the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate and enter a formal contract with contractor 1 for the quoted works under request for quotation 18.25 Tora Linden Road. May I please have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Rogers. Anyone speak against? If there isn't, may I please have a show of hands support of this? That is carried 9-0. Now, councillors, may I please have a mover and seconder to go behind closed doors pursuant to clause 6.2 of the Shire of Ashburton Standing Orders Local Law 2012 to consider the following confidential item 18.1 expired exploration mining tenement A5 1783. Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Fox. Anyone speak against? No. Show of hands, please, for your support to go back behind closed doors. That is carried 9.
8.
Why?
I didn't put my
Sorry, my apologies. 8-1. Following the reopening of the meeting, the council's decision that the recommended council with respect to expired exploration mining tenement A 51783 approves the officer's recommendation as detailed in the body of this report. The vote count was 8-1. Item 19. The next ordinary council meeting will be held at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, 17th of February 2026 at Council Chambers, Onslow Shire Complex, 2nd Avenue, Onslow. Item 20. That being no further business, I close this meeting at 2:35 p.m. Thank you.
That's our longest meeting for a while.
Councillors, be mindful.